What's up and welcome back to episode 105 of Pro Pels Talk, presented to you by Boot Crew Media and Company Burger. Company Burger located at 4600 Ferret Street. Joined tonight, we got an all-star lineup tonight. Chris Connor, Schmidt Dua, and Lido. Join us tonight, and we're going to talk about what is going on now at the national media and how it has just changed. The narrative has changed. And I want to talk about... We're going to Chris. Chris, let's talk to you first. What does this feel like for you right now?
Oh man,
just like the narrative's changed a little bit.
You want a rated R answer? Or you want just like a regular?
No, I want a real. I want a real.
On a Lord's Day.
I want on the Lord's.
Almost better than sex. Almost better than sex. There's no other way to describe it. When you were part of watching something like, happen. And you saw like a lot of the ugly shit, and now, we've all talked about it, but I got my shit on wax. If you just move around enough as a human, you know how this shit go. If you end up being successful, and it be people out of nowhere that they want to this hitting you up you ain't never heard of. You got cousins that you ain't never know you have, supporters out of nowhere. People want something from you. They want to be a part of something special. They want to say that they were there first, right? The bandwagon. Ain't no difference in that than what this is now. So I mean, I just look at it as just old girlfriends that I ain't heard from in 10 years, like, hitting my line now that I'm doing something special. So, shout out to them.
Perfect way to start the show, Schmidt. I mean, it's just all of a sudden changed, right? Stephen A. Smith comes out now that with Zion, a healthy Zion, are they actual contenders? What are your thoughts on those comments? Because it's just changed all of a sudden, just with a little bit of winning. Now everything's changed.
First of all, I don't want to hear anything from the man that left Herb Jones off his ballot. So, I don't care what he's saying. He's just trying to ride the bandwagon at this point. But I think that kind of conversation is nice because people do listen to it. Casual folks do listen to it. People not around the city do listen to it. And we've seen how harmful it can be when they're talking the opposite. And so I'm not, going to stand up here and say that this is going to bring wide sweeping changes to how New Orleans is perceived in the long term, or this is going to help them land star free agents or whatnot. But at least it's not actively destructive. At least it's something that it's, where they're not actively going on there and saying, oh, when Zion getting out, when they're doing this. And now it's more of like, hey, Zion, maybe you need to get your stuff together and help them because they're waiting on you. And so I think that's a big change. And it's definitely more important than what they were doing before.
Lido, do you believe, honestly, like we're talking championship caliber team, do you believe that this team with the healthy Zion Williamson right now could come out of the West? Oh, wait, he's muted. Hold up.
That's crazy.
There you go, Lido. Now you're
ready. Like presently constructed, adding Zion?
Yeah, right now.
No.
Okay.
No. I think we need a couple moves to show up the bench. 1 or 2 moves, and I think yes. But with the players that we currently have, I think you gotta get some more high IQ guys, and more shooting off the bench, consistent shooting off the bench. Defense always helps.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Chris. I mean, if we have Zion this year, healthy Zion.
Yeah.
Are we beating Phoenix?
Like Zion just shows up for the
just say Zion showed up like 3 or 4 weeks. Like he was about 60-70%. Are we beating Phoenix there?
At worst it goes 7. But I think so. I mean, it's all like, up in the air. I mean, but I think so. Yeah. Depending on how he's used, right? But that's why the championship contender question is even difficult, because like this, this ain't like just fitting in Larry Nance coming back from injury, or getting him acclimated. Like this is adding a generational all world like paint demon. It's tough. I mean, what I'm trying to focus on is what I believe, that just based off of what we see right now, what I know will happen. Like if I had to bet money on, and that's like the offense is going to be overwhelming. right? You know, I feel like I can bet on that, and they're gonna have the most amount of options when it comes to depth and flexibility than I've seen in my 20 years of watching the franchise. You know, so you know how everything else is gonna fall. You know, it's kind of tough, but if I just don't know how if that team is healthy, even when they go through lows of trying to, you know, work in Zion and shake off, you know, Zion shaking off rust and figuring out how he's going to fit in. I just have a hard time seeing if you're a defense, how you game plan, not just for CJ, Zion, and BI, but also Jonas. That's a lot to deal with. I mean, it's really nothing you can do. There's going to be a lot of zone. And I think if I can sit with that, that makes me feel as if at worst they won't be a bubble team. And then you go from there. I mean, injuries happen around the West, things shake up or around the league, you know, and you see whether you know, maybe some of the other moves and the role players go from there.
Schmidt, your boy McNamara right here with an ultimate comment. Schmidt with the ultimate frisbee arms back in the gym, bro.
God, he did this? Okay. I didn't realize we had an audience.
I didn't realize that either. So anyways, so Schmidt, let's talk about honestly offense.
Gotta get to the gym. I'm just skinny, dude. Like, I'm just a skinny guy. Come on, bro.
Schmidt, so let's talk about the offense, right? So they're gonna be one of the best offensive teams in the league, especially with a healthy Zion, JV, as Chris kind of was saying, and obviously BI and CJ. The one thing that does scare me is defense. Defensively, they're gonna be not that great because Zion just obviously isn't that great of a defender. But looking at the teams here in the West this year, or looking forward next year, who do you see the Pelicans like? Are the Pelicans could possibly be a top 4 team? Is that crazy to think? I mean, is that crazy to think? Because I'm looking at it right now, right? You got Denver, right? They'll get Murray back, and they'll get oh my God, what is his name?
Michael Porter Jr.
Thank you, Michael Porter Jr. back. Minnesota, Utah, Clippers. Yes, I agree there. Clippers, but health's always a question. The Lakers, who knows? Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, like you said, I think the Clippers and Lakers both, if everything goes right, have potential to be top 4 teams, right? And then Memphis had a great season. Phoenix had a great season. Golden State had a great season. So, like, if you were just to talk in terms of the strict odds of it happening, I think it's unlikely just because of the sheer number of teams. Now, if, you know, seasons were decided based on, like, preseason rankings or offseason stuff, then the Lakers would be champions right now, and they'd be playing the final. Or they'd be playing against the Nets in the final. So, you know, anything can happen. I think one thing that if the Pelicans are healthy bodes well for them is they're going to have enough scoring power to not go into those lulls that they're a big fan of doing. And so if you stagger the lineups correctly and you're going to have Zion out there, you should at least be winning games off of your sheer offense. I think the defense in the regular seasons can be passable. I think you can scheme enough to where, you know, you're just such an overwhelming offensive team that it's difficult for other teams to expend energy on the other end against you. And that's why I think sometimes like Golden State is benefited. I mean, they have a really good defense, but they often trot out guys who are not very good defenders individually. And it's like their offense is so overwhelming and people are flying around and you got to chase people off the 3-point line and whatnot. And then you got to go on the other end and try to run your own offense. It's tough. And so when you're trying to fight against Jonas, when you're trying to fight against Zion, when you're trying to cover BI and CJ, it's going to be tough. And I think hallmarks of good regular season teams is like they blow out bad teams. And I think the Pelicans have all the markings of being a team that is going to be able to blow out bad teams and then have the scoring power to keep up with any other good team. What now? If that means they're a good playoff team, I don't know. We've seen that work with the Jazz. We're like, all right, they're a great regular season team in the playoffs. I mean, the Suns kind of just played that out as well.
Yeah, I mean, so Lito had a tweet out the other night. I think it was I look at the Southwest Division, right? You look at the Mavs, Rockets, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Spurs. Is that the question be to easily? I'm not necessarily easily win the division, but win the division pretty handily. I mean,
I don't think it's out of the question. I mean, I see probably, in my opinion, Memphis probably takes a step back. We get better, obviously. I think Dallas is gonna. I don't know. I mean, their situation with Jalen Brunson is interesting. You hear commentators saying, "Do you sign him or do they trade him for a better version of him?" I think we can definitely be the best team in the division. I think, you know, if you get a healthy Zion, whoever else that Griff decides to add in the offseason, I mean, sure, definitely. And then you got, you know what I'm saying, the draft. You got the draft right there. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about easily. I think it'll be competitive, but I do think we can take the division.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think Schmidt. So we go back to back to free agency and the draft, right? We talk about adding talent to this team that's already good, and they're adding Zion Williamson, which is enormous. You know, we keep talking about the draft, but what are the needs for this team? Because it's obvious, right? I mean, shooting, defense, but it's easier said than done. Like, who do you really honestly see the Pelicans maybe targeting in free agency and obviously in the draft that will fit those needs?
Well, I think there's a couple things here. First, I think this may be a year where you can say, hey, let me find out what I have in my own team. And you can take that approach and not really have an urgency to like move off of people and find your solutions, because you're adding a major piece in Zion and you're trying to figure out how does he fit in? What do we need? Because I think your definition of needs is going to change when he takes the court.
Right.
Yeah.
And so maybe you want a little bit of a sample to determine what those needs are going to be. I think it's easy for us to project like, okay, long term, they're going to need rim protection, right? They're going to need shooting and spacing around Zion. Like, I think those things are pretty universal across like any NBA team. And so it doesn't hurt to go out and get some of those things in the meantime. However, it really makes it difficult for you to be like, okay, we got Devontae. We know he's probably not a long-term fit, but in terms of moving off of him, how aggressive do you actually need to be without knowing A, where are my other needs, and B, what's the market kind of look like? Because in the summer, it's teams that are always overvaluing their own players. And so we always, you know, the CJ trade couldn't have happened in July. Like, I think their GM Neil O'Shea would have just asked for 3-4 picks, and Griff would have been like, yeah, that's ridiculous. And now you fast forward to February, you can essentially trade a pick that ends up being the Milwaukee pick, and you get a nice caliber player for lower value.
Interesting. Yeah. So Chris, you know, obviously it's easy to talk about contention, right? In late May, June, but let's talk about something that's happening right now and Zion Williamson being cleared for all basketball activities. What have you seen different in Zion? Because I've seen a lot. I mean, Lito talked about this and Schmidt as well, but I'm interested to hear, because you're such a positive guy and you follow this team very closely. What have you seen different in Zion in previous years?
Man, I think that I think you can tell that this year kind of matured him a little bit more. I was very surprised by what felt like in how open he was in that exit interview, especially considering whatever type of contention there or any type of I don't know if he's uncomfortable or whatever the case or how he feels about local media or certain individuals of the local media. But regardless, we don't see him doing many. We don't get, you don't really see him talking too much, right? At least not with people that are associated with Pelicans media. But you would say that out of all the different things that I've seen from him, a lot of it feels like he's kind of keeping things to the vest. He's kind of very protective, and he's saying what he's supposed to say. That exit interview, it felt like was one of the few interviews to where he really just was being as raw as he could. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that he's through everything that this season and previously, has brought. At the end of the day, it brought a damn good coach. It brought a really exciting future. It brought an amazing leader, CJ, and it brought improvements in his co-star, Brandon Ingram, as well as others, and a hell of a run. It brought the city out, right? It brought a lot of pride and open pride in the Pelicans. So I think a mixture of all of that, it just brings someone who he was already motivated to get back on the floor to play basketball again and prove what he can do just as an individual. But now I think it's somebody that's really excited to be a part of something and seeing how he can help bring it to the next level. And, I don't know if we thought, we thought he would be in the beginning of this, we thought he would be, the main part of this. And we may circle back to that being the case. But right now, he's more of someone he could be a finishing touch of sorts. He's helping putting you over a certain ceiling that you may not be able to get with this certain group. I mean, so it's end of the day, he looks happy. And I hope that lasts, he can stay healthy, and we can really see what this thing can turn into.
Yeah, Lito. So, Zion, since being in high school, is just a phenom, right? Worldwide, he goes viral, all that stuff. Then all of a sudden he's taking out the spotlight. And out of that spotlight, he gets a little negativity. And then all of a sudden his team kind of takes off and gets CJ McCollum in, and he starts getting called out in national media and things like that. How much of that do you think really affected him? Because you got to think, right? I know he's a quiet kid, but he obviously hears the noise. How much motivated do you think he'll be this offseason about getting serious, maturing a little bit, and then bringing it into the regular season?
Justin, do you know what we call that something like that happens uptown?
What's that?
We call it the humbling. I don't
so
care.
You think he's humble?
I don't care who you are.
Humbling.
I don't care what you do in life. At some point in life, the humbling is going to come to a tour to your house. It happens, some sooner than others, right? And if I'm Zion, I'm cool getting humbled this early. At least I didn't have to figure this out towards the twilight of my career. He's young. He's 21. He can bounce back. He can change things. I think, yeah. I mean, at some point this season, Zion looked away and he was like, "Shit, man, I didn't mean for this to happen." Or not. I mean, the injuries happen. I'm just talking about like the things with maybe not showing up in shape or not actually being there for the media, or some would consider him an aloof teammate, right? Like just things like that. I think when those things get taken away from you and you realize team is family, right? You realize you see Willie as a coach in the environment that he creates, and these guys like being together, and you not being there with that. That's probably more of a humbling than, let's say, missing games. Because Zion, let's face it, Zion is Zion, man. He's gonna come in and he can get 27 walking out of bed. Like I was just watching the tape of him fouling out everybody from Minnesota last year. It's like basketball isn't the problem with Zion, right? It's just other things just kind of got in the way of it maybe at times. So I think the humbling tour came and visited him, pat him on the back, you know what I'm saying, and told him get better. And I think he's going to oblige it.
Yeah, at the humbling tour, I like that. I also think that CJ McCollum getting in his ear, I think that was probably a very big deal as well. And Schmidt, Let's talk about the offseason, right? He's due for that contract extension. I see you got a big smile on your face. Griff has come out. Well, he's come out and said that the full max, right, is not necessarily going to be offered. What?
Wait. Did
I'm
Griff
sorry.
say that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Look at this appropriately.
Propaganda, man.
I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Okay. What do you see this offseason if there is a contract extension? What could be put in that contract?
God damn.
Yeah. That's a really good question.
It's a good question, Chris.
What Griff said was it's going to be a difficult conversation, a difficult negotiation.
Okay.
And I think the Pelicans are a unique place where they can apply pressure. Now I've been spending the last 2 days trying to do research into similar contracts in the past, and just reading through what the actual the legal language of the contract is, and just kind of what's allowed to happen and not. So there'll be a more detailed video on that later, but basically the Pelicans have flexibility to play around with what portion of money they want to guarantee for him. And they can tie it to a lot of different things. They can tie it to games played. They can tie it to injury. They can tie it to rebounds. They can tie whatever they, the negotiation that Zion's representation and the Pelicans agree to, they can do. And I think this is a moment where, you have this opportunity. I think he's not going to qualify for that starter level qualifying offer unless he plays 60 plus games or whatever, however many games, and that not being on the table, the $17 million qualifying offer not being on the table makes it really difficult for him to be like, hey, I'll just wait 1 year, take that $17 million and then go cash out somewhere else. And then the other thing is, like, if he does play well enough, you have a second crack at this. So, like, if he doesn't accept this option, you can go back to the negotiating table next summer and be like, all right, here's everything else. Here of all those things. And again, I don't think he's going to be the type where if you offer him the full 5 years, like next year, then he's going to turn that down. He may be the type to like hold it against you and ask out sooner rather than later. I don't know about that, but I don't think he's going to take the money that the Pelicans are offering and turn it down.
Chris, you got anything for that?
Can we respond to the comments?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think we all laughed at the exact. So I'm actually interested, Chris. I want you to extend the Jackson Hayes, right? What are you? Let's go with that, Chris. Go ahead, brother.
He needs to extend his ability to box out. Okay, he needs to extend his ability to want to set screens. Okay, if we're going along that route, can we extend with him doing a lot of the little things before we are extending him as a future? Man, look, I want Jackson Hayes to work. Okay, I don't know why we do this thing where someone has a different opinion. It's like, oh, you want him gone? No, absolutely not. I would like him to work. I have my preferences and I have my beliefs in how it will work. But I would like him to extend some of the things in which big men need to do in the NBA or the CBA or any damn basketball association for me to want to extend his contract. That's it. I don't think that should be all that crazy. It's not,
That's fair.
Along with Gary Clark having to start to win a ring.
I don't know about this. I mean, that's actually Josh Chappelle's big game.
Hey, Lito.
There you go.
You remember the Gary Clark comment?
I do, man. I do.
All right.
Lito, I do want to get to this, Lito, because this is our guy. And the young blood 46 says Zion's return to the lineup is going to open up everything, especially for Brandon Ingram. Let's talk about Brandon Ingram and what was said over the weekend from head coach Willie Green. Goes on a podcast with Evan Turner and Andre Iguodala. I'm forgetting the name here, but off the top of my head, basically Willie Green was saying that Brandon Ingram is an incredible teammate. He works his ass off. All the things that we know, and then also that this is just the beginning of his peak. Lito, you're a big BI guy, so I'll let you have the floor. But just to hear your head coach say that about you, it's pretty impressive right there.
Willie Green is stealing material directly from my Twitter. It's crazy. I've been saying that. I'm saying that for 3 years, man. But seriously, BI evolving into or steadily evolving into the guy that he's going to become as a basketball player is just fun to watch, man. Like it's like, the training wheels are coming off, or not that they were on last year, but you know what I'm saying, just so to speak, he's gaining speed. He's just going faster and faster. I love to hear Willie talk in general because Willie's just super positive and makes me think really good things about the direction of the team. For him to say that on Dre, I forgot whose podcast, Evan Turner and Andre's podcast, it was good to hear, man. Actually, they wanted to talk about BI, which was honestly more interesting to hear because they said that they've been saying they're really high on him. They think the world of him. Me and somebody were having a conversation about Jason Tatum and BI the other day, and I mean, I'm on record as saying that Tatum is the guy that I wanted, for sure. When the trade was available, or when they were trying to get AD. But man, I'm glad we got who we got. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy comes in, he works, he doesn't, he's getting better as a defender. Every year he's getting better as a passer. He's handled a fucking boxing one. Like he had to figure that shit out in real time, a boxing one in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm excited about the future with Brandon and adding Zion to the mix, man. Like that's dope. We good.
Yeah, Schmidt, I want to talk about something that's not really talked about, and then we'll go to Chris here on that. Brandon has had a really rocky start right to his career. He's had, I think, if I'm wrong, so I think that he started off with Byron Scott, then got Luke Walton, then got Alvin, then got Stan, and then got Willie. So that's 5 years. That's 5 coaches in 5 years. You got to think the relationship with Willie Green and Brandon is special. It's probably the best he's probably ever had. How important has Willie Green been to Brandon, not only on the court, but also off the court?
Oh, huge. Because I think the number one area where this shows up in is defensive mind, right? How many complaints do we have about Brandon Ingram under Alvin Gentry not making rotation? Same thing with Stan, where Stan was supposed to be this defensive coach. He's supposed to be the drill sergeant. Clearly, he didn't get through to the players, and they didn't vibe with him, and they didn't want to play for him. And then Willie comes along, and it's not like, Brandon was like a first-team all-defensive player. No, that was Herb. But Brandon was hugely responsible for the Pelicans starting unit being as successful as it was defensively, and the success the Pelicans had defensively all season long. They started off really poorly, the 1-12, and the defense was really bad. Brandon missed a long period of that. And then in games Brandon played, they were an above average defense, which is absolutely huge. And I think him being able to then contribute towards making units that are playable defensively is a big step that he's taken, and it wouldn't happen without Willie.
Yeah, Chris. So Lito and Schmidt have both said it, that Brandon has gotten better every single year.
Yeah.
How much better can he get? Seriously, how much better can he get?
Well, look, I mean, if we're talking as in just an individual, he could. I think that there's a possibly another tier if you believe that he can, jump to that tier. Because look, let's say what, like right now, after that year, what, top 25, top 20 player. I'm terrible with rankings off the top of my head, but if you say that, is there room for him to get into the top 10? Yeah, I mean, I would say that would be the, but if he doesn't, as an individual, if he doesn't add anything right now, everything's going to look a lot different for him regardless, just based off of if the team is anywhere close to healthy, right? If Zion, Jonas, CJ, if that combination, if he has at least 2 of those individuals, I mean, hell, we saw him taking it to another level just with CJ and JV. So you add Zion to that, he's gonna be walking into shots that he can't get in practice. It's just that's what that level, I think, of talent, skill sets, and how they all, I think, complement each other, which I don't think a lot of people, we haven't had a chance to really talk about too much because we haven't been able to see it. But those for those type of skill sets and where they work at and where they end up, operating from, for us to be just looking at them on paper, I mean, I think that they can complement each other very well. And for BI, after having a really great postseason, a great season, in total, should have been an all-star. I think now he has a chance to put some, to continue to add to that. Now the name recognition, I think, from a lot of people, that you stopped asking. We were asking, it was questions years ago about if I think last year, if Andrew Wiggins was better, right? This was before even the, even the all-star campaign.
Oh God.
So,
can I interject here for a second?
Yeah, please.
We look at a guy that Brandon's often compared to, which is DeMar DeRozan, right?
Yeah.
Just someone that historically has been a very good talented scorer, operates a lot in the mid-range. His teams have had a good amount of success. He's been up and down individually. But he's 32 years old. He just had a career year averaging just under 28 points a game, right? 27.9. 32 years old. That's 8 years on Brandon Ingram. And I think it was Lito saying, like, we're watching Brandon figure out things in real time. You give Brandon 8 years, what's that going to look like, right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that, this is going to turn into like him being a 30-point guy at night. I think if he wanted to, he could do that. I think he could put up 30 every single night if he wanted to. But I think what it's going to turn into is actually a lot of wins and a lot of winning. Him being able to just rise up to any occasion, any moment, because he's seen it all, done it all. And as you guys mentioned, the partners that he has on the court will also make the game easier for him.
Yeah, and that's
Can I
said.
say something
Go
about
ahead.
that? That's
Go
an
ahead,
interesting
Lito.
point, man, because I remember seeing like not only Twitter but the national media for 2 years in a row say DeMar DeRozan was basically done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to see from that to this, and then to add to what Shamit said about Brandon and where he can go, man, that's
Yeah, and the comment if you're on YouTube, the comment that was said, it's actually it's Point Forward podcast with Evan Turner and Iguodala. But head coach Willie Green says Brandon doesn't get the credit he deserves, and he's just an unbelievable teammate. I'm so proud of Brandon because he wants to be great. His future is bright. I think we are just starting to see what he's capable of. And so yeah, I mean, you got to think with Brandon, man. He so lucky to have him. He's so young, man. He's 24, 25 years old. I mean, and he's just getting into that. You just finally got to see what he could do in the postseason. I remember debating this with Ross all the time. He's like, I don't want to limp into the playoffs. I didn't really necessarily care about limping in the playoffs. I wanted to see how people like Brandon Ingram and young guys responded for those playoff moments. And Brandon showed you when the stakes are high, I'm the guy. And that's what he shows you. And then now you can move forward in the offseason with, I mean, just an absolute stud. And Brandon Ingram, you're getting Zion Williamson back. So I'm going to throw this one to Shamit here. We'll wrap up the next 5-10 minutes. But Shamit, do you think with Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Jonas Valanciunas, they have one of the best front courts in the league?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you look at the best front courts in the league, and the ones that immediately jump out to you were the Lakers when they were healthy with LeBron and AD, the Bucks with Lopez, Giannis, Portis, those guys. And then you're just like, what's next, right? Because you have a lot of individual talent. You have like, you know, Nikola Jokic is a great individual talent, Joel Embiid, but who are their partners? And right. I don't think you're going to be able to find a team full of three people that are going to give you 20 a night in the front court if they want to, but like also like two legitimate stars. And then that's the best offensive rebounding team in the league. That's just that's the best offensive rebounding team in the league. And they already were an elite offensive rebounding team without Zion this year. I think they were top 2 or top 3, something like that. And then you're adding Zion to the mix. It's just like teams are not going to be able to run a transition against these guys because you're going to have to send the whole team crash into the glass to keep these guys off the board.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're also forgetting about a guy, Trey Murphy, who I think who will get those minutes as well, get more minutes next year. He's elite. Chris, go ahead. Is Ingram top 20 in the league? I mean, in my opinion, he's top 20.
Again, I'm terrible. I'm terrible with these lists off the top of my head.
Should I throw it to Leo?
I think he's earned it. I mean, I think he's earned it. I mean, when you go on that stage and play as well as he did across the board, some of the ways that he was able to disrupt a few plays defensively, you saw the leadership come into play. You know, Herb Jones, CP going at it, BI steps in and goes to talking to CP himself. Yeah. The passing, the rebound, and the scoring efficiency, the degree of difficulty with the scoring against arguably the best wing defender in the game, to where Bridges is just like, hey man, I tried, you know. So I think the consistency as well, you know, him being a point guard for a lot of the year, the situations when that wasn't the plan to start the year necessarily. I say after the year he had in total, I think you have to, if he's not top 20, I mean, he can't be that far, right, you know, that far out.
It's funny that we're 33 minutes in this podcast. We've yet to mention Herb Jones. And I find it just incredible that Herb Jones is so good that like, you don't even have to talk about him anymore. So Lito, let's just talk about a little bit of the roster and we'll wrap it up here because I'm interested in what we do with this pick and where we need to get better. But you got to think going into next season, Lito, you got CJ, Herb, BI, JV, Zion, Jose, Trey. Where do you see 8 through 10? Where can we get better? Who cracks the rotation? Obviously, maybe a draft pick, maybe a free agent. But those 7 going into next season's pretty damn good.
I mean, yeah, I think as far as like, it's just all about, you asked me earlier about, you know, us getting out of the West. It's just all about how you fill out the roster. Just all about how you fill in the rest of the guys. And you get, you know, obviously it looks like as far as drafting players, Griff has a type. Chris, chill. He has the type of guy that he's looking for, and maybe a Herb, maybe a Trey, Trey, Jose. Like as far as that attitude, I think every time I say this, every time I feel like I'm about to say something wild. You tell me about the Garrett Temple thing. When I looked up and I was just like,
because I didn't think we were talking about Garrett Temple. Chris, I don't know if you were talking about. I mean, you threw Garrett Temple out of left field for no good reason. Listen, Garrett Temple and Tony Snell don't need to be on the roster. You're completely right, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like those two guys, you got to figure out a way to get off them. You got to figure out what you're doing, Kyra. You know what I'm saying? Or if you do nothing there. And you got, maybe the Devontae thing. Just depending on how you fill out the roster, you know what I'm saying? We'll have a better, like, I feel like after the draft, after free agency, we'll have a better idea of that.
Schmidt, I completely agree, Lito. Schmidt, CJ McCollum as a third option. Like, let that sink in. Like, Game As, I'm glad you said that. CJ is a third option. That's ridiculous.
First of all, does CJ know that he's going to be a third option?
I mean, he'll learn pretty quickly.
An important question to ask. But no, I think his game is the type that where you don't need to like define options 1 or 2, right? With him, you can put him on the court. He's going to find a way to get his. I keep going back to when Durant signed with the Warriors. And the media asked Clay, it's like, all right, you guys got Steph, you got KD, like, are you going to be sacrificing something? And Clay's like, I ain't sacrificing shit. And he did. You look at his stats that year, he took the same number of shots, like almost identically, and then he like scored the same number of points. And it was really kind of Steph who like took a little bit of a backseat. And so I think with CJ, it's not dissimilar to Clay, where like he's going to get a lot of his stuff off the ball. A lot of the driving kicks that BI and Zion now are going to be able to generate the ball. He's going to be able to find him on the perimeter. He's going to get a lot of threes up that way. And then also I think he's going to have time to run against like second units, kind of like how he did in Portland. And just like, I'm just laughing at it, man. Teams like second units are going to have to deal with either one of, like pairs, right? Pairs of like either CJ and Zion or BI and Jonas or, like any combination of those four. And it's just like, good luck benches, right? But yeah, I mean, it's good luck. The way I see like the sacrifice coming from is Jonas's production a little bit, Jonas's minutes. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if like BI, like he scored like I think 22 a game this year. It wasn't his like usual 24 or so. I wouldn't be surprised to see if he stays around 21, 22, but his assists are like 7, 8 a game. Yeah. And then the thing with Zion is Zion doesn't really eat shots. Like he's going to score 27 on 15 shots. Yeah. And 15 shots is nothing. Like we're going to be begging for more shots for Zion. I think that's going to be the outcome.
Yeah. Chris, this is a great question here. Jonas Valanciunas, is he a good fit with JV's a good fit with CJ. I'm not worried about that. What about Zion? I mean, let's just answer the question. Is Jonas Valanciunas a good fit to CJ McCollum with a team already with Zion? I'm interested because they haven't played obviously together. So what do you think that's going to look like? Is the paint going to be clogged? What do you see with JV and Zion sharing the court at the same time?
No, I mean, look, I think that as individuals, they already bring enough to the table. But I think what makes that pairing interesting is that, or in any pairing, is that what do you think that they're going to do together, and will it be elite? And Schmidt mentioned it. It's going to be rebounding. Like they are going to be an elite rebounding team. Schmidt said the best offensive rebounding team in basketball. Yeah, 100%. And I mean, like I was thinking about this shit all morning. Like I watched the games that they played against Miami when Zion was healthy, and for stretches, Bam would guard Zion. And it's like if you're a team like Miami, right, you have to sacrifice something like that. Like you can't play small against that team. You won't be able to play small, because if let's say you put Bam on Zion, who's stopping JV on the boards, right?
You got to stop him.
Yeah. So then teams are what the Pelicans are going to be able to do. And one of the big reasons I think a part of this is these two, right? It won't be the prettiest, I think, part of what we think about when we think about this team, but it's going to be very important. Zion and JV are going to make teams that want to play small, that want to come out and put out lineups that are built around being able to switch everything. They're going to fuck all that up and make you go bring in a big off the bench. Yeah. And that's gonna mess with a lot of teams. Like Toronto, I dare Toronto to come out with this lineup with nothing more, with nobody over 6'8". It's not like do you guys remember the game that they played where it was where JV, he had like 12 in the first quarter against Toronto, for example? I think that's going to be the interesting thing. They're going to make teams play how they want them to play.
The man had Chris Boucher in a headlock. Crazy.
Well, if you think about it, right? Say Zion did play in Phoenix. How would have Phoenix matched up? Was Jay Crowder going to guard Zion? Like, who would have? I'm just saying, if the Pelicans were fully healthy, I just don't know. The only question I have is defense, right? They'll probably hunt out Zion and go from there. But it's going to happen sooner or later. Schmidt, I do want to wrap up on this question. Summer League. Who do you see getting run in Summer League? Because you got to think, listen, Jose had a great time, incredible year. Same with Trey, like at the end of the year, Trey Murphy. But I still think those guys could get some work, a couple games, not the whole Summer League. But do you see those guys getting some run in the Summer League early on?
So it's in all of their contracts that they got to go. And I think it's going to be one of those situations where they decide pretty quickly, like you said, either in a game or maybe just in the training camp, like, y'all don't actually need to play, but thanks for coming. And maybe it's just like the one game where it's like, all right, Trey, just go for 30 and then you're good, or whatever it is. So like, I don't anticipate them having an extended run. And I think the other thing is the whole team's going to be there for a little camp, like the whole roster. And so I think those guys are going to be with the graduated folks, and then whoever they bring in via the draft is going to get some of that shine that these guys previously had in the year before.
Okay, that's what I kind of thought. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Predictions tonight, Chris, go ahead.
I got Boston by 15 points.
Oh my God, what? Are you kidding
Miami.
me?
It's been a lot of blowouts, so
it's gonna happen. They're gonna beat them by 15. They're the better team. To me, I think I learned everything I needed to know about this Boston team a series ago when they were down 3-2 against Milwaukee, and they came back and won that series. Now it's different going. That's just how I see it. I think that Miami's definitely a tough team. They're at home. The shooters, hopefully, you would hope that. I mean, bro, Kyle Lowry scored 18 points, man. He had what 3 games where he didn't combine to score 18. Are we banking on him doing that again? I'm not. Is Jimmy gonna score 40 again? Maybe. Boston's a better team. Even with Hero coming back, I just think between the combination of Brown and Tatum, Horford's gonna have a better offensive game. They're gonna send Miami home. They're going to win by at least 15 points, and somebody's going to make a lot of money.
Thank God Kyle Lowry turned down that offer. Lito, go ahead.
Thank God Kyle Lowry was too good for the Pelicans. I tweeted that the other night.
Thank God.
I got Boston by 5.
I can live with that.
Shout out to 5.
Shout out to 5.
I got Boston. And hold on. Before you go to Schmidt, hold on. I got Boston shocking the world.
Don't do this. Don't you fucking do this. Don't you fucking
We're not doing this. I don't think we can do this.
Don't do it.
Hey.
You don't. First of all, you don't have to do this.
I like anarchy. I want to do this.
I love anarchy.
When you say
I dreamed about this shit.
They're gonna do what by shock the world? They're gonna win 2 games against Golden State.
All right.
They're gonna do what?
Okay.
Lito, you're on drugs, brother.
Say it. Say it. I dare you to say it.
Drugs are good. I am saying that Boston is going to shock the world, Chris. That's what I'm saying.
And how many games?
It don't matter. I don't care. Shit, it don't matter. How many it take? Fuck it. I don't care.
You going out. You going out sad. You going out sad.
That's how you do it.
You're supposed to stand on that pause. You're supposed to.
Boston is 7.
Oh, wow. Schmidt, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami. Picking the home team.
Ooh.
I think this is going to be the team. I think the difference is going to be whoever makes their threes. I think it's kind of what it's been in this series. Well, if Miami's forcing turnovers, they win the game usually. But when they're not forcing turnovers, they can't really score in the half court. So I think the thing that's going to bring it over to the top for them is my good old man Duncan Robinson. He's going to come off the bench. Max Strus. I'm telling you, man, Max Strus is going to miss his first three. And then Spoelstra's going to have this moment where oh, man, we're going to need some threes. Go bring up Duncan Robinson off the ice and be like, all right, man, go do your thing. And he's going to hit his shots. Going to make 6 threes tonight.
Have some fucking pride, man.
Lito and Schmidt are just saying shit.
You deserve to be on that side.
But
That's
my
crazy.
real prediction is that Miami does win, and it does come down to 3-point shooting. And I think their starters end up hitting I think they're hot from 3. I think it's the home crowd that makes the difference. They're role players play better at home. That's what they say. And I think it will be a double-digit win just because of threes.
Yeah, I got Miami too. And then also Golden State might win in 5, Lito. So no matter whoever wins, Golden State will win in 5. So thanks.
Like Chris said, they told me the same thing a series ago. Okay.
Gosh, incredible, Lito. Chris Connor, Lito Schmidt signing off. Thanks for everyone joining in. If you're watching this, subscribe to the channel. I got to do this DraftKings. If you are ready for the NBA champs to be crowned, join the finals action with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA and Boot Crew Media. Any new customers can bet $5 and you win $150 instantly in free bets. Let's use promo code BOOT. That is BOOT. It's right there. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT. Bet $5 on any bet during the NBA finals and you get $150 in free bets instantly. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. If you're someone who has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. Signing off, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Y'all enjoy Game 7. See y'all.